Hello, how's everybody out there doing today? Just starting off, so we'll let everybody show up here. Then we'll get into the nitty gritty of this insanely crazy week. Oh man. Hardly know where to start, man. Obviously, if you've seen my live stream from last week, you know that we got a new cat and everything. And that's, of course, the happy part. But since then, things have gotten a little bit crazy. So, let me see here. Am I streaming all right? I seem to be like losing my feed here for some reason. What's going on? Why am I not streaming well? Come on, stream. Work with me here. Come on. Let's work. Let's get this going. Right. Well, wait until we get a couple people to show up to get this story going. Fix my little cookie wave here. Whew. So Sunday night. Let's see if anybody's home. Who's hiding out there? Who's gonna join me for this fun and excitement today? As much as we can say that. Okay. Kind of want to make sure everybody starts showing up before I start divulging everything, because it's a one long, non-stop story. So if you're catching this on the repeat, it might actually be easier than if you come in late. You know, if you come in late, you might want to just backtrack a little bit to the start of the story, because you're gonna miss a lot if you don't catch the beginning there. So, we got anybody in the house? Let me know in the comments. I see it says I've got a couple viewers, but let's make sure we got some people watching before we get this started. I know last week when I started around this time, which is not my normal time, I ended up having a bunch of people come on, but just a little bit late. Hello, Common Sense with Elizabeth. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. Yeah, I know a lot of people showed up a little bit late yesterday, so I wanted to give a couple minutes before we really got into this. I mean, everything's going well around here otherwise. For the most part, I mean, we're still in lockdown here in England, and that's, you know, is what it is, and we're dealing with it. And hopefully here by the end of the month, they're saying we can start meeting with people outside again at least. They like, in groups, that is. Like, they have like, somewhere here in the middle of the month, there's really soon, maybe this Monday, they're saying like you can meet with like one person outside. Woohoo! But we'll see what happens. Todd, good to see you. Todd's Tropicals here. All right. We're getting some people showing up now. Very good. Okay, so let the counter raise up. A few more people showing up. My concurrent viewer is getting moving up here. Common Sense with Elizabeth says, I have a lot of cats, taking care of cats and cat rescues for 22 years. Wow, that's awesome. And I have a lot of plants. Yes, I do. There's a good chance your cat ate one of the plants because a good number of plants are poisonous. I do know that. That was going to be the original topic of my show today. But from all the tests they've done so far, they didn't bring that up. And we'll get into the details of it, but we're pretty much 99.9% sure that it wasn't that, luckily. Because I have pretty much taken all of the suspect plants out of anywhere near reach or whatnot. This one's one of them here, but I usually have it in a spot where you can't even come close to getting to. It's just here for decoration at the moment. And he's not the kind of guy who's been interested in messing with anything. He's an older cat. He's like almost 15. He's 14 and a half. And he's really chill. And, you know, we've only had him just over a week now. And in that time, you know, before all this started happening, he was, you know, not really, because he's older, he doesn't try and jump onto high surfaces or jump very far already. So where I have all the plants located, there's just no way he can get to them the way he jumps. It's just not going to happen. So, oh, it sounds like Rubster 760 actually Did a live stream. All right. Oh, he actually made my live stream finally. Yeah. Woo. He does lots of pool videos, and he's a big time badass pool player. So if you haven't seen Roobster yet, go check him out. So what we got now? We got quite a few people here. So, okay, where do we start here? So, yes, last Friday, not this last Friday, or officially Friday before this last Friday, which would be about, what was that, 9 days ago now? We got our new cat, and everything seemed to be just fine when we first got him. He's, and everything on the level, everything looking good. And we were pretty, we're very happy with him. He, of course, like most cats, he took a little bit of time getting used to us and starting to settle in, but it really was moving really well, very, very quickly. He was starting to explore the house a little bit more. He was starting to check out the downstairs, where we had originally started him upstairs just in the bedroom as his main relaxing place. And then he was starting to just go around and check out the other places. He was starting to actually explore the office here a little bit, and then like I said, downstairs. And he was getting out and around, and he was getting used to us, and everything was going really good until we hit Wednesday morning. And Wednesday morning, just the preface, I guess, to say is that he had a pre-existing thyroid condition. But from what we understood, and obviously he'd been to the vet, pretty consistently before he got to us. Well, we understood that it was just like, okay, it's just this medicine to take care of it. You give it to him twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening, and he should be fine with it. He has no problems with trying to eat it. And he's just, everything's great. So what happened was he usually, so far he's not on our schedule completely with the time that we wake up. So he usually wakes up a little bit early, and he'll give us a meow to let us know he's hungry, and then we'll get up and go feed him. Well, on this morning he did his usual thing, and then he went downstairs, and instead of doing his what he usually does, which is a bit more of his, obvious, I want food meow, which we actually have gotten used to. He went down and he did more of a bit of a yowl kind of meow, one of those ones. And we thought originally he was just, really angry that we weren't feeding him yet. But then I went down there to go feed him and got the food out and everything, and he didn't go for it. And I was like, what the heck is going on here? And I'm going to bring up the footage here of him now. Let's grab that footage. I got to bring that up here. Okay, let's get this started. So, we're going to start off with just him being himself at before all this, troublesome stuff started. And the hard drive is waking back up. Here it goes. Okay. So he's just relaxing with his favorite catnip banana there at the moment. And so this is him eating when he would normally eat. He's like lots of vigor, really happy to eat and go for it. Hello. And he's a very lively kitty, and you'll see in the upcoming shots here before we get into the rough stuff. And there is some rough stuff here, so nothing gruesome or anything, but just very, very taxing for me. But you can see this when we first got him. He's like very much like a happy cat, very much engaging with engaging with his food, very lively, very much. Like you would expect. And he was hearing a dog outside, and then he's like, "What? No, I'm going back to my food. I don't care." And so coming up on it here shortly, but I kind of jumped the story before starting the footage. Okay, I'm trying to kind of let the footage catch up to where we're supposed to be now. But when I went to give him his food, he was just like not into it at all. And yeah, it was just a completely different from these scenes here where you see him very much like, hey, come give me my food. I see you're preparing the food. I'm going to just be right on top of you until you give me the food. And that's the way he was the first few days until we fed him. But when I went down there, he didn't do that. I mean, the yowl that he did that morning kind of abruptly stopped as well, where it was just kind of out of nowhere. We're like, oh, okay, he just kind of stopped, and which was a bit surprising in itself. And otherwise, he's I'm just waiting. We're getting closer now here, guys. But this is him he's very affectionate. He was very affectionate with us already. And I think this was on Tuesday, before things happened, where he was looking quite normal, being very much engaged with us. He seemed very much going up to us, wanting to get pet and wanting to get his head rubs in and stuff. And looking really good. Lots of energy. His head's up and everything fine. And yeah. I just, so it's this part of why this whole thing is so startling, because we went from this into what happened, and that in itself kind of shocked us, but everything that's kind of happened since then has just got us going, what the hell is going on? I don't know what the frickin' heck to think. Okay, so here we go. This is the hard stuff. Now, you immediately see here, if you look at it, look at that. Look how he's twitching. It's just... yeah, he just went to this where he stayed on this board and was just shaking like this, like crazy. And it just non-stop, where he was just vibrating like this the whole time. And it's not like a cold vibration or anything. It was just because... It was because there's this other condition. Now, I'm going to pause here before we get back here. So this is him after he came back from the vet the first day. But what happened was we took him into the vet, and they ended up putting him on an IV, which is why he has the boot on there. Because apparently his thyroid was really out of whack, but oddly, even though he was drinking a lot before then even, he... was very dehydrated apparently, and his potassium levels were really low. So they ended up putting him on an IV on Wednesday to try and see if they could help regulate those. And after the first day, they were getting better, and they sent him home with us still and he was doing great here. So this is him once he came home on that first day, lapping up even more water, and yeah, doing very well. You'll see here in the next couple of shots that he's got his energy up. He is definitely involved and still acting a bit of his normal self. And I'm going to bring the chat up here so I see if I'm missing anything. Yes. Elizabeth said that she's got 3 older cats. One will be 15 next month, and I have one that's about to be 19. Then 2 younger ones, one just over 7, one 4.5. Nice. Good to see our treasured home in the house. Good to see Desmond Donders. Common Sense with Elizabeth also says, I've had several thyroid conditions. One couldn't tolerate the pills, so I had to rub the thyroid ointment on the skin of the inner ear. And as far as he's been concerned, he's been getting this liquid in the food, and he's been fine with it. He doesn't balk at it at all, as far as that's concerned, normally. But you can see how he's just very uncomfortable with this boot, and why wouldn't he be? I mean, it is a rather annoying thing to have on your foot. Yeah, Common Sense with Elizabeth says neurological. They thought that might be a possibility as well, and they were doing some research on that. But they're saying it could still be because of the potassium and because of the thyroid. And but that's been one of the hardest things, is that they just haven't been giving us definitive information back saying, yes, it is this, yes, no, it isn't that. Well, you can see here that even though the day he came back, he was much more, obviously, he was much livelier again, much more engaged, very much still really wanting his food at this point, and very much into things. And he was having a little bit of a decrease in appetite in places since then. So this is the second day after he came back, because on Thursday, what ended up happening was they took him back in and they found out that his levels were okay but not high enough. So they kept him on the IV again all of Thursday. And by the end of the day, they said it's normally around 3.4 for his, there should be the optimum potassium level, and he was at 3.2 by then, so he's doing really good. And hey, you know, it looks like we're on the right path, and he was looking pretty good there. You see him moving around easily and stuff, and he's got his new boot on, and you know, obviously still not liking it as much, but still, you know, being engaged, still eating and everything. We've also been trying to just, you know, discover. We've been playing around with some foods, but there's some he likes better than others, and yeah, it's you can only do so much with trying to experiment with food when you're trying to make sure they're getting medicine as far as that's concerned. But didn't eat everything there in one go, obviously, and he would, you know, he went back to it several times. Whereas a lot of times when we first got him, he would just kind of go and chow down on the whole meal, no problem. But he started being a bit more sporadic about about his eating. He's a big gravy cat. He likes the gravy a lot more than the chunks. Yeah, we do have lots of water dishes around, and he does drink a lot. Even since we've had him over there, he's been drinking a lot. So. And every day he's been lapping up lots of water, so it's like we've been, making sure he's got the water bowl upstairs and downstairs, so he can always have access to water. And he does drink from both of them, no problem. In fact, sometimes he gets some water and he hangs by the bowl and he drinks, even lots. Keeps drinking. After he'll stop and he'll just hang by the bowl and then get some more, because he knows he needs water, I guess. But he came. This is him coming back on Friday, and on Friday they gave him a pressure bandage this time because they took the IV out, and they said, "Okay, we can give him back to you for the weekend," but the potassium levels apparently dropped again on Friday, and he was being a little bit more off again, and this weekend it's been the same thing where he's been off again, on again. And you'll see here, the pressure bandage actually enlarged the size of his paw. This is just not too long after we took the pressure bandage off, because it was like we noticed his paw had gotten big because it was squeezing it off. And they didn't tell us it needed to be taken off immediately, so we left it on there. And it wasn't until I looked at it I was like, that paw looks mighty big. So yeah, that left paw right at this point is like about twice the size, and it was about 3 times the size almost when I ended up catching it and being like, no, that needs to come off. And we called them and they're like, yeah, definitely you can take it off, and you don't have to put a new one on or anything. And yeah, since then his paws come back down to normal. Getting that bandage off did the trick and everything. But just like another thing we had to deal with. And they've done lots of tests now. Diabetes was one of them, negative for the diabetes. And they've sent it off to some neurological people, and they've said, yeah, it could be that, but it could still be, related to his normal condition that he already has. If you can get that back in check, it may very well stop. And over this weekend, you can see a little bit of the jerking there still, with him shaking just a little bit. And he's gone in spurts over the weekend, where Saturday he seemed in pretty good shape. It seemed like he was coming back around. He ate his meals. He took all of his medicine, which was in his meals, of course. But then, earlier today, he was looking really low again, and very lethargic, lying down a lot and sleeping a lot. but then this evening he's been a little bit better again. So it's like been very much up and down the way he's been going this weekend. So I'm hoping to see what he's like here on for the rest of the night, and then what his numbers are and what they actually say when they're going to do some more blood work on Monday to check his levels again. And what they're saying the possibility is now that it could either be cancer on the lymph nodes, I think, or cancer in the thyroid itself. And it's like, on one hand, it's like, if that's what it is, great, they can diagnose it and deal with it and whatnot. But on the other hand, having had the cat, or for so short now, for in just less than a week, it's like, did you guys not catch this? Did someone somehow miss this? So you could say, well, maybe because it's because of the stress of the moves where he spent 3 weeks with a foster carer before coming to us, and that just exacerbated his symptoms. And it's like, well, I guess that's a possibility, but it's like if he was already experiencing this shakiness that like he has here, and this lethargicness, you think someone would have noticed that. To him suddenly be so just sitting there like this now, where he wasn't not engaging, just being very much like, okay, I'm here, and not so much like I just need to sleep right now, but you can tell he's not so much just not wanting to do anything. But luckily, like I said, he has bounced back again, where this evening he let us play a little bit with him, and he seemed very much more interested in his food again. And yeah, but it's just been this up and down thing where they said, oh, it might be this. Well, it doesn't look like it's that. It could just be the thyroid. Well, now because it's the potassium not staying in his system and the thyroid, it may not just be the thyroid, it may be something else as well, but we still don't know, even though we've done lots of tests so far. And so it's just very frustrating and very hard that we thought we had gotten a reasonably healthy cat. We knew there's a minor thyroid condition, but we thought it was just this minor thing. And all of a sudden we're dealing with a cat who seems to be breaking down. And it's very sad that we accepted that may very well happen, down the line and stuff. But we weren't expecting less than a week after having him to have him suddenly be breaking down like this. And it's just so hard that we wanted to adopt an older cat, but we didn't expect this. We didn't expect him to suddenly be breaking down, and we definitely, and I'm recognizing the comments of people like saying, yeah, left them long will end up changing taste in their foods. Yeah, Did they mention pillow foot? GLG says they didn't mention it to us at the time. They didn't mention it until after I called them up to say, hey, he's got this expanding foot. Then they said, oh yeah, that'll happen sometimes. It's like, well, you could have let us know that unlike the boot that you had him on the previous 2 days, that when we got him home, we should just take that pressure bandage off after an hour or two or something, So I can fault them for that, I think. But other than that, yeah. But he had that boot on. He ended up having the boot on for 2 days because they kept him on the IV for both Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. And then Friday, when we sent him home with us for the weekend, they took it out. And so he's going to go back in first thing tomorrow. And they're going to do some more blood test stuff. But it's just the hardest thing, I think, is just the not knowing, in that we're going from what's supposed to just be a thyroid thing, and now it's apparently maybe something huge, maybe not. We don't know. And, yes, these things take time and everything, but it's just like, what the heck is going on here, It's just very, very much, we don't know what the heck to do with it, And we're not by any means giving up on him. They actually called us up and said, you want us to take us back with him because this isn't what you necessarily signed up with it for? And it's like, no, we took him. He's our cat now. We're taking care of him. And yeah, it's just, yeah. pate style food works best because they'll just lick the gravy and not eat. Yeah, yeah, he is a big fan of doing that a lot of times, of just having the gravy and not eating the rest. There's a couple dishes we know that he just likes to just eat the whole thing, and we gave him some of that tonight, and he seemed to be doing much better with it. Um, yeah, they have tested him for HIV, the cat HIV, the FIV, I think is what it's called, and he's fine. He's not doesn't have that either. Um, yeah, Sandra Flip says cats are usually more active around dawn and dusk. Yep, yeah, and he's been off and on with that as well. With some days he's more active than others, and it has been very much up and down. We did get him from a cat rescue, and they are supposed to have a full vet workup, and we did send me his vet records, and I sent them on to my vet that we have now, and yeah, we're still just trying to figure out the details of exactly what's happening now, because if it was as simple as just the thyroid medication being off, then us just upping the dose should really be enough for it to adjust it and make things come back to normal. And he's been taking that medication the last 2 days now. I mean, every day since they've upped the medication, he has been taking the medication when we give it to him. I mean, yeah, and like I said, he normally doesn't have a problem of having it in the food and still having the medication. The hard thing is it's been a little bit more hit and miss with the potassium medication they gave us to give him for the weekend, because that one they say to definitely mix in with the food, and he hasn't been eating all the food on every day. So we've been trying to make sure we find ways to get him that in there. And yeah, I may end up just going straight to giving it to him right to by mouth and see how well he handles that, because I'd rather him get it and be a little bit perturbed about it than not having it at all. Because we need to just systematically, I think, make sure he's getting the medication. Go, okay, he's having the thyroid medication every day. Is it that? Okay, that's fine. That's settled. If not, is it just the potassium thing now? And is the potassium not holding because the thyroid thing's completely out of whack? And yeah. So it's just one of those things where it's like, we want some answers. Yeah, and it sounds like Common Sense with Elizabeth says, yeah, they can always do an x-ray or ultrasound of the thyroid to see if there's cancer. But the rescue should have done all the blood work. And it's like, it's not leukemia. They checked for that as well. Yeah, it's not the FIP or the FIV. All those things came back negative. But they have been talking about the possibility of an ultrasound if they can't get anything more conclusive from the blood work they're doing. So it might very well be our next step, is trying to do an ultrasound with them. If it is neurological, we actually got an email from the previous owner who had to give him up because she was just too old to take care for him anymore. And she said, well, I'd rather not put him through all of what he'd have to go through just to diagnose him. And I kind of agree with her. It's like because what they were talking about is like, oh, you have to send him off for several weeks of tests to try and, narrow it down and stuff. I'm like going, that sounds like it's just going to end up being torture for him. And it's like, the idea is to give him a better quality of life, especially at his age. And the idea of sending him off for 3 weeks to be poked and prodded and all this stuff does not sound like something he needs right now. Especially, after all this madness here. So, is he on... Common Sense with Elizabeth asks, is he on 5 milligrams twice a day thyroid med? You mean 5 milligrams or 0.5 milligrams? Because it's not milligrams that we've been using. They've been telling us to do we started off at 0.6 milliliters, not milligrams, and we've since upped it to 0.75 milliliters according to what the vet told us to do. So he's only been on the higher dose for a couple days now, so I mean, I don't know how immediate the effect would be to see if he's better because of that or not. So I'm not sure if it should be like an immediate thing that it's like, oh, boom, okay, I'm regulated because you got me on the right dose now. or if it might take a couple days because his levels have been out of whack a bit already, and it just takes a little bit of time to re-regulate them, because they said something along the lines of like the normal thyroid level is like 40 and his was like 200, which is insane. So obviously his thyroid was just well out of whack, and yeah, we've been doing our best to make sure he gets every bit of his thyroid medicine these last, especially this weekend, and since this has started happening, because we had heard that and we're like, whoa, that's too much. That's a bit crazy. So, yeah. Thank you, Sandra. Yes, you said sending him off for weeks would be horrible. I agree with your choice. Yeah. Because it's like the idea is if he is declining that way, if he is starting to have problems neurologically, we want to just make his life as comfortable and happy as it can be from here on out. But if it is just a matter of this thyroid being out of whack, because like I said, um, the owner, the foster carers didn't notice any of this. They didn't say there was anything going on other than he just needed a little bit of medicine and he was a perfectly wonderful cat. Everything's great. And he's in great shape. He's very lively for his age. And yeah, boom, out of nowhere, we're dealing with this. And whew. Man, so yeah, it's been I've had a little bit of stress just like everybody with the lockdown, but this has been an whole other level of stress for me this last week, because I love animals dearly. They're my family members. Once they're in my family, and we've had him only a week, but he's family now, and I don't care. It's been a week, and that's just the way I live. Okay, and yeah, to suddenly have a new family member, it's is just insane to suddenly go from like, yes, we got him and he is this perfectly wonderful kitty, he is perfectly loving, he is very energetic, to like foosh. It's just been like, whoa, what the heck is going on? And then it also like started making me second guess, was I giving him his medicine wrong initially? Is that what caused it? And so that all this other stress and self-worry started creeping in, and I'm just like I gotta try and find a good even level to deal with this, because I know we can get him back to a healthy place. I know that's still very possible. He's still shown signs that he can get back to where he was, and I'm hoping it is just a matter of re-regulating this medicine, figuring out if there is some other thing that's setting him off, and getting him the meds he needs or whatever he needs to just get him back to normal. Because I don't think there's any reason why we can't do that. And yeah, just very, very tough as far as all that's concerned. So, yeah. Thanks, Todd. Appreciate it. You have a good night. Yeah, cats tend to have high hyperthyroidism where their levels are too high. Dogs tend to have hyperthyroidism where it's too low and they gain weight. Yeah. Now, I don't know if this is something that goes with it, but it seems like he maybe also runs a little bit hot with the hyperthyroidism. I haven't done enough research to find out if that is something that goes along with it, because unlike a lot of cats who like to curl up and stay warm or go to warmer spots, he's very much like, no, let me sit on the cold floor or sit on the bed with no cushy blankets, just flat surface. I see those cushy blankets all sitting over there that you guys love, but no, I don't want to be in them. New, wonderful, warm cat bed? No. And he's been very much like, no, I am Spartan kitty. I will go on hard surface and be happy. So I'm like wondering, and he does spread out a lot as compared to curling up to try and keep warmth most of the time. And so it's like, is that part of hyperthyroidism as well? Does anyone know? Common Sense with Elizabeth, you seem to be, you're obviously very cat knowledgeable, so I'll ask you first. If anybody else knows, is that something that actually happens with cats? Because I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, that's the other reason why I'm doing this on Sunday instead of my ginger tea video, which is being edited at the moment. but it got pushed off in favor of cat health. So, yes, I have a couple videos that I actually did record and started editing, but, hopefully I won't be back next Sunday doing another cat health report, and we'll get back to the normal schedule, and the benefits of ginger tea will be the next thing you're watching from me. And if that's the case, then that's a good thing. We're back on the right track. Um, One way or another, I'm sure on my next live stream I'll definitely give you an update on what's going on next. But from here, the most important thing is to make sure he's taking all of his medicine every day, and to find out what the vets say next as to what's going on with him exactly. And hopefully Monday we'll have a more definitive answer as to what's going on. But yeah, I think that's been the most stressful thing, the most worrying thing, is that your mind just starts worrying and wondering what the heck's going on, and yeah, at this point it probably is exaggeration to say, is my cat dying, but the thoughts rolled through my head, because they've mentioned cancer to me, and they've mentioned all these other crazy things to me, and the vets were, while yes, I know you're wanting to prepare a person for that, at the other end, it's like, I feel like you need to be a little bit more like, let's, not jump to any suppositions before we know a bit more clearly exactly what's going on here. Thanks for all the great thoughts, GLG and Desmond Donders. Common Sense with Elizabeth says, I've been dealing with elderly pets for 6 years. I have a geriatric home for cats. Very nice. But yeah, dealing with sick pets is very stressful, because you want the best life for them. You want to take care of them properly, and especially with a brand new cat here. And so many different things that go in with that. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. That is, I think, about as much of the story as I've got right now. And yeah, it's been nice the last hour or two, after sleeping most of the day and being really lethargic, and actually having his thing. They said watch out if his head starts really drooping and sagging, which he seemed to be doing a little bit of that today, which made us go, is that because he's just tired, or is that because he's doing what they said he was going to do? Or he might do. And so, getting the panic over that. He has been much livelier this evening, which is great to see. He actually let us play with him just a little bit. Not very much, but at least it showed interest in it, which is great. And like I said, the last meal or two, he's definitely been more engaged, which is a good sign. So, yeah. Hopefully he's on the right track now, and just needs to finally re-regulate his thyroid levels and those potassium levels. And then once that all balances out, he'll get back to his normal, wonderful self that I know he is. So, I don't know how much more I can talk about this. Oh man, yeah, it's been crazy. It's been a complete roller coaster this week, where, we brought him into the vet, and they're like, they say, it should just be a matter of finding this out. Get him back. Okay, great. Last day in the vet tomorrow. Great, everything's gonna be good. And then they tell us different information at the end of the night, where we're like, okay, no, he has to go back in the next day. And then, oh God, we're getting him back. It's last day, definitely last day. Nope, going back in again. And so yeah, we just kept getting information where we thought we might be done, and then them saying, no, he's not done for sure. And So Common Sense with Elizabeth says, my newest has been in the house for over a year now, because he was an outside cat, but it took him months to get used to bedding. Yeah. I'm not sure what he's normally used to as far as his bedding. They didn't mention that in the information they gave us about him. But he did come with a couple of blankets that he apparently likes, and he does use those. But he likes to... But so far, yeah, he hasn't been very engaged with sleeping on the wonderful cushy stuff that we've gotten for him. But, we'll see, but yeah, maybe if, down the line he'll be a bit more engaged with that as he goes. So, Oof, jeez, yeah. Common Sense with Elizabeth says before she had problems with her cancer, she had to put one of her cats down because of cancer. Ugh. Cancer. Ugh. Crazy stuff. But yeah, so it's like there's just so many variables. That's the hardest thing, because you've got the health variables. Then it's like on the other end, you got the emotional variables, where it's like, is he just also partially stressed because of the having to move away from his owner of 14 years, and then jump to another place, and then jump to us yet another place. And is he going through some depression with that, and as well, is that setting him off? So yeah, just so many different things that we're dealing with and trying to think about, and make sure he's just doing as good as he can. But oh yes, definitely been trying to take a deep breath and stay in a positive place. It's just been it's been very difficult to keep there. And but the more we see him pulling through, the more we're like, okay, good, it's coming around. It's going to be good. Everything's going to be fine. And we still, definitely are thinking, on the best track, that it could all, after all said and done, it could just still be that because his thyroid was just so far out of whack, it just got him so messed up. And that once we get that all resettled, he's going to be pretty much back to normal. So we'll see. Don't know for sure yet. We'll find out what happens very soon. We'll let you know here shortly. At the moment, I would normally do my live streams. I've started doing them on Tuesday again. So because we're taking him into the vet on Monday, I may very well try and do a live stream on Tuesday. If things get a little crazy, that might get pushed off. But I probably am going to try and do a new live stream on Tuesday, and then release my next video on Sunday as per the norm before Kitty Madness. And get back onto the normal schedule. So yeah, hopefully I can do my normal live stream, which is just a little bit earlier than this for my start time. 5:30, 6 o'clock ish, Greenwich Mean Time, UK time, which I think is 1 p.m. East Coast time. You can figure it out from there. And we can give you an update, and everything hopefully will be much peachier and much clearer at that time. And then you guys will hopefully be enjoying the wonders of ginger tea on next Sunday. All right, that is going to be it for me for now. I think I've covered everything I can for the moment. 30 cc of fluid about every hour when sick, then every 2 hours before they get better. Yeah, they do need lots of water. Very, very much agree. Until the meds regulate. So yeah, they didn't mention anything about trying to, give him lots of water along with all this. So that is an interesting thing to hear that you're saying. We should try and make sure, even if he's not drinking enough, to just make sure we keep giving him more water. May have to look at doing that. But okay. Yeah, cats don't like change and have a harder time getting adapted than dogs. And they do get depressed. So yeah, this part of this whole up and down could be partially that for sure. And we've definitely been thinking that there's a possibility. So we've been trying to make things as easy on him as possible to really get him feeling like this is his new proper home for the rest of his life. So trying to get that out of the equation and deal with all the rest of it. So all right. You guys take care. Hopefully we'll see you again on Tuesday. Have a great night. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Until next time. Bye, y'all.